Good morning. My name is Susan Chigalko, and it's a privilege to serve as your worship associate. This morning, I am reminded of the evocative words of Maya Angelou. Here on the pulse of this new day, may you have the grace to look into your sister's eyes and your brother's face and say simply, very simply, with hope, good morning. We welcome everyone as together we expand our vision, deepen our understanding, practice loving kindness, and foster social justice. Welcome to Tapestry, a Unitarian Universalist congregation. Our minister, the Reverend Kent Doss, is not in the pulpit this morning, but he will return next Sunday, along with kind of a regular order of service. We've switched it around just slightly. February is Black History Month, Chinese Lunar New Year, Lent, President's Day, New Zealand's Waitangi Day, and in celebration of Valentine's Day, this morning's Tapestry Readers Theater presents The Art of the Love Letter. David Deering is the creator and director. Mickey Jackson is the producer. Mickey, David, and I formed Readers Theater a few years ago, and actually Tapestry has a long history of these inspirational and creative endeavors, including Coffee House, NPR offerings led by Lauren Schmid, essays on discrimination, civil disobedience, Thoreau, guns and poetry, etc. We feel these are additional ways to move us to discernment, to action, and to generosity. By the way, our theme for this month is generosity. We have many generous people taking part in today's Readers Theater, with no full rehearsal whatsoever and no salary, but imbued with a desire to use our voices to connect and to include. So in the words of the Reverend John Gibb Millspa, leave aside the little thoughts that distract you from the depth of your soul. Join with others in this room, this community of seekers, and together we will find the sacred. Thank you for being willing to introduce yourselves. After the service, all are invited to stay for refreshments and conversation outside in the patio area in the glorious sunshine. If you feel you have found a spiritual home with us, please talk with Reverend Kent, someone at the greeters table, or the membership chair, Amanda Wainwright. Now please extend a brief greeting to those sitting around you. It'll work. Please check Tapestry's website, our newsletter, or our Tapestry app, which can be downloaded on your smartphone or tablet. As I mentioned last week, ask anyone but me if you have questions about the app. You'll find updated information regarding religious exploration classes, special events, and Sunday's order of service, etc. Our activities reflect our focus of building community, standing on the side of love, and making a positive difference for humanity. This is our intention and our strength. And now Penny Kinnear will light our chalice. Our flame is a symbol of transcendence over superstition and fear. Our circle proclaims the earth and all inhabitants are one, and from the common container of the chalice, we share the warmth, shelter, and connection of our beloved community. Our celebrations, concerns, and sorrows are shared in support and in love. Pamela Edwards is home from the hospital and would enjoy emails and cards and any beautiful photos you might have to share with her, along with a few words about how they inspire you. My husband and I hold a joy and a concern at the same time because our youngest son, Matt, is running the Austin, Texas Marathon right now. We've been at the finish line with him before, and I get very emotional. He's a healthy 45-year-old, except for he has polycystic kidney disease with multiple cysts on both kidneys, so he has to be very careful with the staying hydrated and carries this big backpack, camel pack. These concerns and celebrations, along with the candles lit in silence and in our hearts, we hold them together in our beloved community. And now the children are invited to join us up front for the Time for All Ages, led by David Deering.
Come on. Oh, it's nice to see you all this morning. If any of the young at heart would care to come up, that would be nice too. We do have some chairs for you today, just in case.
I'm going to kneel.
Good morning. How's everybody today? Everybody fine? Pretty good? Good. Nice to see you all. Who knows what today is? Valentine's Day, yes. And Saint Valentine goes all the way back to Rome, where he was persecuted for marrying soldiers who weren't supposed to be married and ministering to Christians. Bad idea back then. The idea of giving gifts and flowers and cards appears in the 14th century. That was a long, long time ago, before even everybody here was born. Long time ago, okay? Did any of you send a Valentine card to a friend? Yeah. Yay! Good. Did any of you receive a Valentine card? Yes. Yay. Oh, is that your Valentine? Yes, that's lovely. Thank you. Well, what I'd like to share with you today is some letters that children, some of whom are your age, wrote to friends, grandparents, new boy in school, lots of different letters. And later on in the service, while you're all in class, we are going to have a presentation by our Readers Theater of love letters. Okay? So let me begin with the first love letter. And this is for the new boy in school. Any of you have new students come in your schools? Yeah, of course. Very good. Okay, here we go. Dear new boy, at the blackboard, just arrived in town with all the answers. Can you see that one plus 1 plus 1, the sum of you and who? The only correct answer is me. And here's one, dear teacher. Do you all like your teachers? Good. Do you all do everything your teachers say? All the time? Pretty much. I'll take that. Dear teacher, I hope you never find out this red heart is from me. I like to stay quiet in the class crowd. Yours as a mouse. And the next one is to Grandma. Dear Gram, I very much love your sugar cookies and chocolate fudge, but I am even full of love when all your jars are empty. Your grandson, Big Belly. Now that's love. Dear Mom, keep momming. Second, I'm really thanking you. Third, I'm serious. Fourth, don't laugh. Fifth, please kiss only on the cheek. Your big son, the kid himself. Dear hardworking Dad, even when you snore on the couch, I am proud with a full heart for you. Your son with earplugs. Dear little sis, here's a lesson for you, even though these scissors are supposed to be for us kids. I did cut my finger on the sharp edge, cutting out this heart for you. PS1, please notice the 2 drops of my blood next to your name on the front of this card. Sometimes it takes a little blood. PS2, the messy white paste looking lumps are only lumps of messy white paste. Your big bro. And the last one, dear Once Upon a Time, I know we can write that story together if we just put our heads ear to ear and our faces eye to eye. Your happy ending. Yay! Did you see all the slides? Good. Now, for those of you who did not send a card, okay, I have some cards for you, okay. I'm going to keep one for myself because I haven't sent a card to my wife yet. Would you pass those around, please?
Yep.
Thank you. And would you give everyone a pencil, please? Thank you. And you can help too, please. You help too. We got lots of helpers. Now, I only ask that you do not do this during your class, okay? Because your teachers probably have a plan for you. And you notice the pencils aren't sharpened. So be careful when they are. Does everybody have a card and a pencil? Cards are coming. Who are you going to send your card to, Kathy? Who are you going to send your card to? Anybody going to send a special card to someone? Who are you going to send your card to?
I don't know.
Does everybody have a card and a pencil? Yes. Okay, off we go to class then.
So now please take a moment to settle in and calm the mind with silent meditation. Letters of love are legacies of the way we were and how similar we often are now. The following presentation embodies this most profound emotion, love. So the art of love letters, Tapestry's Reader's Theater.
This morning, Tapestry is celebrating what has come to be almost a lost art, writing letters to express one's affection and devotion. I say lost because email, texting, and other forms of e-speak have become the new way to say, I love you.
This morning, we join with talented Tapestry players to remember and pay tribute to those who took the time and to find paper and pen and to sit down to write about the best subject of all, love. We often think of love letters as having particular qualities. For example, they may be highly poetic, rich in elaborate images.
If I look at the crystal moon, at the red branch of the slow autumn at my window, if I touch near the fire the impalpable ash of the wrinkled body of the log, everything carries me to you, as if everything that exists, aromas, lights, metals, were little boats that sail toward those tales of yours that wait for me.
And what is love without the inevitable insecurity? To love completely carries an enormous risk.
If, little by little, you stop loving me, I shall stop loving you, little by little. If suddenly you forget me, do not look for me, for I shall already have forgotten you. If you think it long and mad, the wind of banners that passes through my life, and you decide to leave me at the shore of the heart where I have roots, remember that on that day, at that hour, I shall lift my arms and my roots will set off to seek another land.
The great miracle of love, though, is the affirmation, the moment of learning that our love is reciprocated, true, and enduring.
But if each day, each hour, you feel that you are destined for me with implacable sweetness, if each day a flower climbs up to your lips to seek me, ah, my love, ah, my own, in me, all that fire is repeated. In me, nothing is extinguished or forgotten. My love feeds on your love, beloved, and as long as you live, it will be in your arms without leaving mine.
This love letter you have just heard was written by a man who came to be known as the poet of love, the Chilean poet Pablo Neruda, who is considered to be one of the greatest poets of the Spanish language. Since Neruda had 3 wives, he was very experienced in writing love letters. But love happens between other real people, with perhaps not so much experience in expressing their devotion poetically.
One of the most admirable qualities of love letters is that they are usually saved, sometimes for centuries, and we have copies of letters from some very famous people, testament to the personalities and the very private relationships of those who might otherwise seem stodgy and distant.
We know, because of their prolific exchange of letters, for example, that in spite of being separated for long periods of time, Abigail and John Adams were exceedingly close to one another. They often addressed one another as "my dear friend," and their letters are among the most endearing ever written. Many are on public display at the Vassar Public Library.
My dearest friend, should I draw you the picture of my heart, it would be what I hope you would still love, though it contained nothing new. The early possession you obtained there and the absolute power you have obtained over it leaves not the smallest space unoccupied. I look back to the early days of our acquaintance and friendship as to the days of love and innocence, and with an indescribable pleasure I have seen near a score of years roll over our heads with an affection heightened and improved by time. Nor have the dreary years of absence in the smallest degree effaced from my mind the images of the dear man to whom I gave my heart. Abigail.
George Bernard Shaw was undoubtedly in love with Mrs. Patrick Stella Campbell. She was an actress of great beauty and wit who originated the role of Eliza Doolittle at Shaw's request. The mismatched couple corresponded for over 40 years, despite Stella's oft-quoted remark about his talking too much. When you were quite a little boy, somebody ought to have said, "Hush," just once.
To Stella Beatrice Campbell. I want my rapscallionly fellow vagabond. I want my dark lady. I want my angel. I want my tempter. I want my Freya with her apples. I want the lighter of 7 lamps of beauty, honor, laughter, music, love, life, and immortality. I want my inspiration, my folly, my happiness, my divinity, my madness, my selfishness, my final sanity and sanctification, my transfiguration, my purification, my light across the sea, my palm across the desert, my garden of lovely flowers, my million nameless joys, my day's wage, my night's dream, my darling, and my star.
The English Romantic poet John Keats left not only a great body of poetry, but also beautifully written love letters to Franny Braun. Letters are read by a lover as well as written by a lover. So we present John Keats and Franny Braun, the writer and the recipient.
My dearest girl, this moment I have set myself to copy some verses out fair. I cannot proceed with any degree of content. I must write you a line or two and see if that will assist in dismissing you from my mind for ever so short a time. Upon my soul, I can think
of nothing else. The time is past when I had power to advise and warn you against the unpromising of my life. My love has made me selfish. I cannot exist without you.
I am forgetful of everything but seeing you again. My life seems to stop there. I see no further. You have absorbed me. I have a sensation at the present moment as though I was dissolving. I should be exquisitely miserable without the hope of seeing you soon.
I should be afraid to separate myself from you. Will your heart never change? My love, will it? I have no limit now to my love. Your note came in just now. I cannot be happy away from you. 'Tis richer than an argosy of pearls.
Do not threat me even in jest. I have been astonished that men could die martyrs for religion. I've shuddered at it. I shudder no more. I could be martyred for my religion. Love is my religion. I could die for that. I could die for you. My creed is love, and you are its only tenant.
You have ravished me away by a power I cannot resist, and yet I could resist till I saw you. And even since I have seen you, I have endeavored often to reason against the reasons of my love.
I can do that no more. The pain would be too great. My love is selfish.
I cannot breathe without you.
Yours forever, John Keats.
The next love letter was written by Vita Sackville West, prize-winning English poet, novelist, and garden designer, to Virginia Woolf. Perhaps you know their work. In A Room of One's Own, Woolf writes from the point of view of Mary Benton. She shares the lament of Shakespeare's sister Judith, who had all of her brother's genius, but being female, none of his opportunity. Her conclusions: a woman needs 500 pounds a year and a room to which to write, and that literature should be gender neutral. Sackville West's letter appears in a collection entitled Isle of Lesbos.
I am reduced to a thing that wants Virginia.
I composed a beautiful letter to you in the sleepless nightmare hours of the night, and it is all gone. I just miss you. In a quite simple, desperate way. You, with all your undumb letters, would never write so elementary a phrase as that. Perhaps you wouldn't even feel it. And yet, I believe you'll be sensible of a little gap. But you'd clothe it in so exquisite a phrase that it should lose little of its reality. Whereas with me, it is quite stark. I miss you even more than I could have believed, and I was prepared to miss you a great deal. So this letter is really just a little squeak of pain. It is incredible to me how essential you have become. I suppose you are accustomed to people saying these things. Damn you, spoiled creature. I shan't make you love me any more by giving myself away like this. But oh, my dear, I can't be clever and standoffish with you. I love you too much for that. Too truly. And you have no idea how standoffish I can be with people I don't love. I have brought it to a fine art. But you have broken down my defenses. And I don't really resent it. However, I won't bore you anymore.
Some letters contain a delightful combination of down-to-earth news of the day and impish expressions of deep affection. Consider, for example, this letter from a very impish composer, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, to his beloved wife Constance. Mozart was apparently away on tour.
While I was writing the last page of this letter, tear after tear fell on the paper. But I must cheer up. Catch, an astonishing number of kisses are flying about. The deuce, I see a whole crowd of them. Ha ha, I just caught 3. They are delicious. You can still answer this letter, but you must address your reply to Linz, Posse Restante. That is the safest course. As I do not know yet whether I shall go to Regensburg, I can't tell you anything definite. Just write on the cover that the letter is to be held until called for. Adieu, dearest beloved little wife. Take care of your health, and don't think of walking into town. Do write and tell me how you like our new quarters. Adieu. I kiss you millions of times.
From the very beginning, Scott and Zelda Fitzgerald carried on an extremely codependent, unhealthy, yet enduring and intense love affair. Scott once wrote to one of Zelda's doctors, "Perhaps 50% of our friends and relatives would tell you in all honest conviction that my drinking drove Zelda insane. The other half would assure you that her insanity drove me to drink. And neither judgment would mean anything."
I look down the tracks and see you coming, and every haze and mist your rumpled trousers are hurrying to me. Without you, dearest, dearest, I couldn't see or hear or feel or think or live. I love you so, and I'm never in all our lives going to let us be apart another night. It's like begging for mercy of a storm, of killing beauty, of growing old without you. I want to kiss you so, in the back where your dear hair starts, on your chest. I love you. I can't tell you how much, to think that I'll die without your knowing. Gufo, you've got to try to feel how much I do, how inanimate I am when you're gone. I can't even hate those damnable people. Nobody's got any right to live but us. And they're dirtying up our world, and I can't hate them because I want you so. Come quick to me. I could never do without you. If you hated me or were covered with sores like a leper, if you ran away with another woman or starved and beat me, I would want you. I know, lover. Lover, darling, your wife.
In contrast to the Fitzgeralds' unhealthy, codependent love, we turn to a love which will perhaps seem more realistic and modern. This is from the pen of Elizabeth Haley, who wrote the best-selling book, A Woman of Independent Means, which was based on the letters written by her grandmother, Elizabeth Alcott Steed. The author, Ms. Haley, presents her grandmother as a strong, salty woman who was well before her time in her feelings about women's liberation and independence, and incidentally, about sex.
Dear heart, flowers seemed to be growing from the walls of my stateroom when I arrived on board ship. How thoughtful and generous you are. I am surrounded on this voyage with evidence of your affection, the telegrams, the flowers, baskets of fruit, champagne. Thank you for everything, but especially for the flowers and the tender note that accompanied them. I fall asleep amid their scent each night, dreaming of your embrace. Oh, my love, how I cherish those blossoms around my solitary bed. When you are beside me, I am garden enough. I burst into bloom at your touch. Without you, I lie fallow, my only satisfaction watching a rose unfold. Why am I not content knowing I am nurturing a new bud of life inside me? Most women of my acquaintance find their husbands irrelevant during these months of impending motherhood. But the constant, tangible evidence of our love that I carry only serves to fan the flames of my desire. Oh, my beloved, missing half, how I yearn for your completion. I would surrender to you tonight more eagerly than I did on our wedding night. Then I only suspected the delights in store for me. Now I know what I'm being denied by distance and circumstance, and every cell of my being cries out in protest. Dearest, write as often as you can. And please, no more letters dictated to your secretary. I know you think Miss Hawkins only types your letters, but I also suspect that she reads them. Take pen late at night. My darling, the last thing before you fall asleep. Release me with words until I'm back in your arms. I am yours forever, Bess.
As the old saying goes, the course of true love does not always run smoothly. Remember Napoleon Bonaparte, who was trying to conquer Europe? Apparently, he was also engaged in trying to conquer Josephine. History reminds us of how that worked out for him.
To Josephine, I love you no longer. On the contrary, I detest you. You are a wretch, truly perverse, truly stupid, a real Cinderella. You never write to me at all. You do not love your husband. You know the pleasure that your letters give him, yet you cannot even manage to write him half a dozen lines, dashed off in a moment. What then do you do all day, madam? What business is so vital that it robs you of the time to write to your faithful lover? What attachment can be stifling and pushing aside the love, the tender and constant love that you promised him? Who can this wonderful new lover be who takes up your every moment, rules your days, and prevents you from devoting your attention to your husband? Beware, Josephine. One fine night, the doors will be broken down, and there I shall be. In truth, I am worried, my love, to have no news from you. Write me a 4-page letter instantly, made up from those delightful words that fill my heart with emotion and joy. I hope to hold you in my arms before long, when I shall lavish upon you 1,000,000 kisses, burning as the equatorial sun.
Of course, the eloquent expression of love, whether in tenderness or in anger, is not limited to famous people. The following reading, for example, is from an anonymous source. Love is also not limited to the young, for here the speaker is an elderly man. His message is for his wife, and his words are a poignant reminder that love is an enduring presence throughout our lives.
My dearest, shall we take fall together? Go sifting through the fallen leaves and gaze upon the golden hues while waiting for the freeze. We walk a little slower now. Our warm days have all but gone. We'll have to bundle up now that fall has come. Shall we take fall together and talk of summers past? Our cold season seems to have begun. Unsaid, we know it cannot last. When we go back, I'll make a fire against the evening chill. I'll watch the light dance on your skin, recalling the passions of back when, and marvel at how you stir me still.
Throughout our lives, it's ideal when communication between two people is clear and articulate. However, sometimes what is intended is not always the message that is received. It all depends on the tone of voice or even punctuation. Consider, for instance, the case of Jill's message to Jack.
I want a man who knows what love is all about. You are generous, kind, thoughtful. People who are not like you admit to being useless and inferior. You ruined me for other men. I yearn for you. I have no feelings whatsoever when we're apart. I can be happy for you. Will you let me be yours?
Dear Jack, I want a man who knows what love is. All about you are generous, kind, thoughtful people who are not like you. Admit to being useless and inferior. You have ruined me. For other men I yearn. For you, I have no feeling whatsoever. When we're apart, I can be forever happy. Will you let me be? Yours, Jill.
The last letter home from a soldier to his wife. Can anything be more heart-wrenching and yet so precious? All through the ages, soldiers have been writing love letters which express their loneliness and longing, and sometimes their ambivalence about the wars they have been fighting. Here is a letter from a Confederate soldier to his pregnant wife just before the Battle of Shiloh in 1862.
My dearest Amanda, I pray this letter will find you safe and well. You and our precious Maggie, too. My longing to see you, to kiss you, to hold you in my arms again is a constant torment, equal to any hell holds for sinners. I write every day knowing if or when any of my letters will reach you. Although I've received no word from you in months, I attribute this to the Union occupation of Nashville, praying all the while that's the only reason we've been unable to communicate with one another. I live for the blessed day when we will be reunited. Until then, I pledge to you my unwavering devotion. Though I cannot bring myself to hate the Yankees, who fight as valiantly and whose devotion to the Union must be as strong as ours is to our own cause, my hatred for this war grows greater every day. When last I looked upon your lovely face, my darling, I believed I could never love you more than I did at that moment, but time and distance has served only to increase my affection and desire I feel for you until it overflows my heart and my soul. May God hold you in his hands until I hold you in my arms again. Your adoring and most fortunate husband, Thomas.
Never knowing if his letter will be his last letter home, sends a sense of urgency and poignancy to the soldier's message. And indeed, Thomas never did hold Amanda in his arms again. He died in the Battle of Shiloh. The following letter was written during a 21st century conflict by a soldier named Jamar.
Dear Amy, as I write this letter to you, I'm looking around at all this death, and I'm feeling tense and angry. I'm missing you and our sweet, angelic babies. Baby, it's been 3 years, and I'm still here. I have to believe that the United States is worth fighting for. This is what keeps me holding on. I'm not really sure if I will live to see another day, or see my kids grow up. Tuck them into bed to me. Every night, I imagine I'm kissing you, my sweet, pretty wife, letting you know I'll be all right. I'll come back. Thank God I'm still alive. If you can hear me, God, through all the noise of gunshots, please, please let the war be over soon, so I can go back home to my family, see my kids grow up, so I can tell them how much I love them in person instead of over the phone.
Two days later, another letter was sent to Jamar's wife. He died heroically trying to save another man's life. I'm proud and honored to give you, his wife, this Purple Heart. I'm deeply sorry for your loss. Letters similar to these from Thomas and Jamar are being written even as we gather peacefully this morning.
To express abiding love is the greatest gift we can give, whether the love is between sweethearts, friends, or families, whether the love is longing, reminiscing, appreciating, or even arguing. And we remember the poignancy of reading these thoughts that have been preserved forever. They reflect the words of the poet E.E. Cummins, "I carry you in my heart." Enormous gratitude to our producer, Mickey Jackson, our creator-director, David Deering, and our readers and narrators. Take a bow. And now Jake Hoyseth will extinguish our flaming chalice. We extinguish this flame knowing the light remains in the warmth and compassion of our hearts until we are together once again. Shalom, namaste, and blessed be. Now please stand if you're comfortable doing so and join in singing this song written by John Lennon, All You Need Is Love.